Okay, so our next topic is the spore germination mechanism. As you know, we are studying the molecular basis of infection, and with that regard, we are focusing on the fungal infections. Now, in the first video lecture, we have understood that how this fungal spore will literally land upon the plant surfaces and they adhere to their host surfaces by using any of the four methods or the four possibilities which are given in the first video lecture. Now, once these spores were successfully attached with that of the plant surface or the host plant surface, then how they are going to germinate, how they are going to form the germ tube, what are the exact mechanism at the molecular level which is occurring, which is triggering the formation of the germ tube, that we have to understand through this video lecture. Okay, so that is why we will primarily focus on how the spore germination occur and what is the mechanism, or you can say what is the molecular mechanism. These are fungal spores. Okay, now consider this is your syllabus. We are dealing with the paper number 1 and the chapter number 1, that is microbiology and the plant pathology. We are studying the molecular basis of the infections and we are primarily focusing first on the fungi. Okay, now consider the first slide. See, the spore germinations occur maybe due to the three factors. Okay, there are three factors which are responsible for the spore germination on the plant surface. Now see, the very first is the stimulation by the contact with that of the host surface. Sometimes what happens, the spores land on the plant surface and the stimulation itself created due to this contact, that is the pathogen spore, when it land on the plant surface, these are plant surface and the pathogen spore automatically when they came in contact with each other, this contact is only sufficient for the formation of the germ tube within the spores or spore germination. But this is the rarest case, and majority of the time some kind of the other methods were also involved in these particular spore germination process. Okay, the very second is the hydration, that is if the spore land on the host surface and here it get wet, it get the source of water, then they can also germinate, because many spores has this tendency that upon getting the water they starts to germinate. Okay, so hydration is the another factor which is responsible for the spore germination during the infection. The third one is the molecular absorption of the low molecular weight ionic material from the host surface, that is the low, whatever the low molecular weight ionic material which is present on the host surface, if it is absorbed by the spore, then it can get germinated. So out of these three, anything can happen. The very first is the stimulation by itself by the contact. Second is the hydration, that is the availability of water. And the third one is the absorption of a low molecular weight ionic material which is already present on the surface of the plant. And due to this, they can actually create the germ tube out of the spore. Okay, and this availability of nutrient play a very major role actually in the germination of the spore, because yeah, for any metabolic activity to take place there is absolute requirement of the energy, and all of this energy coming from the nutrients. Okay, so that is why nutrients play a very important role when it comes to the any metabolic process, or say spore germination in this case. So spore germination can be occurred once they land on the plant surface through any of these three processes. Okay, they can get stimulated simply by the contact, they can have the availability of water and they can germinate, and even they can absorb the low molecular weight ionic material from the plant surface, and by using one of these three types of the methods, the spores can start to germinate. Now see, once the stimulation for the germination is received by the spore, it mobilizes the stored food reserves such as the lipids, then the polyols, carbohydrates, and direct them towards the rapid synthesis of the cell membrane and the cell wall towards the germ tube formation and extension. Now see what happens. We have discussed the three actually mechanism regarding the spore germination on the plant surface. So after getting this particular stimulation of the germination, what will happen? See, generally the spherical type of the germ is there, spore is there, and these spores will going to form the germ tube like this. Okay, so whatever the food material which is present within the body of a spore, this food material in the form of lipids, in the form of polyols, in the form of carbohydrates, it later got transferred to the germ tube area here, and here the formation of a cell membrane and the cell wall is started by using the food material which is already present within the spore. So here spore is carrying all the food material necessary to create the germ tube with itself. Okay, and once it gets the appropriate stimulation, okay, this is very important, because upon landing on the leaf, for example, the spore has landed on the leaf, and by using that three methods, if they get the suitable environment to germinate, it will use its own food material to create the germ tube. Okay, the food material is already present within the body of a spore, and this food material in the form of lipids, in the form of polyols, or in the form of carbohydrate will travel to the germ tube, and here by using that energy, the cell membrane or the cell wall is what created. Okay, so upon getting that stimulation or the positive stimulation that the host is in the range of the pathogen, once it gets stimulated, there from this point the germ tube formation will takes place, and germ tube uses all the energy which is already present within the spore. Now you can understand from this diagram as well, here you can understand the landed spore is there, and this landed spore is creating the germ tube. Okay, and the energy, whatever the energy which is required to create this particular germ tube is coming from the spore itself. Okay, it is not coming from the host. They still not able to extract the food material from the host, but whatever the food material which is already present within the spore, it is utilized to create the germ tube. Okay, now see, germ tube is specialized structures. Okay, now see, whenever you observe the germ tube is a very specialized structure which is distinct from the fungal mycelium. As you know, the fungal mycelium is the complex network, okay, of the fungus, and this fungus mycelium is generally considered as a vegetative structure of the fungus. Okay, but this fungus mycelium is quite different from the germ tube. Germ tube has its own characteristic. Okay, it is not like the simple vegetative structure of the fungal, just like the mycelium. It is not. Germ tube and the mycelium are two completely different structure. Actually, the germ tube is the very important structure which is required during the plant pathogen interaction and to cause the disease within the plant. Okay, it is not the simple vegetative structure. It is the specialized structure which will be responsible for entering into the plant cells. Okay, now it is often growing into the very short distance before it differentiate to form the appressorium. Okay, and now this is the very important word which we called it as a appressorium. Okay, now when consider this is an spore, and this spore is getting germinated and creating the germ tube. Now this germ tube will not grow at the length. Okay, it will create a very short distance, and after the short distance it will stop growing, and from here what it will do, it will start to differentiate. Okay, it will create the different structures here, and this whole structure upon the differentiation it is considered as a appressorium. Okay, the very important appressorium is created at the end of the germ tube formation. So here we have the spore. After the spore, there is a formation of the germ tube, the very short germ tube, and now at the end it will differentiate into the very peculiar structure, and this peculiar structure is called as the appressorium. Okay, so germ tube is a specialized structure. It is not relating with that of the fungal mycelium, and it grows to the very short distance, and upon growing into the short distance it will differentiate and create a very special structure which is called as the appressorium. Okay, now see, the germ tube is also the structure and site of that receives the host surface. Okay, now this is very important. This germ tube which is formed upon the germination of the spore, this germ tube act as a site for the reception of the signal from the host, that whether this particular host is appropriate or not. Okay, if it does not receive an appropriate external stimuli, the germ tube will remain undifferentiated. This is very important. Now see, once the germ tube has created, this germ tube will later differentiate to create the appressorium, but this appressorium will form only then if the positive signal is coming from the host. Okay, they can identify through this signal, they can identify the host if they are in their range or not. Okay, so here after the germination of this spore, then also the germ tube is going to test the plant whether the plant is suitable for this infection or not. If they find this plant very suitable for the infection, then and only then there will be the formation of the appressorium. And if they find no signal from the plant, and they are not finding the plant suitable for the infection, then here the formation of the germ tube will stop, and there will not be any formation of appressorium. So you can say here, if it remain undifferentiated and when the nutrients are exhausted, it will automatically stop growing. Okay, whatever the nutrient which are present in the spore, they were used in the growth and development of the germ tube. Now, upon the growth and development of the germ tube, if this food material is exhausted completely, here the germ tube formation will stop. Okay, and there will not be any formation of the appressorium. Okay, so literally it can terminate the infection here if they find no suitable plant on which they landed. Okay, if the spores are landed on the wrong plant, then there will not be any formation of appressorium, and if they landed on the correct plant, then and only then there will be the formation of a appressorium. Okay, so here the one thing is very important to note down from the mains examination point of view, that the germ tube itself acts as a site where it pursues the host surface. It is going to tackle the host surface. It is going to examine the host surface whether it is in their host range or not. If it is not in their host range, it will not germinate, and if it in their range, it will form the appressorium to proceed to the further infection. Okay. Now, if appropriate physical and chemical signals such as the surface hardness, then the hydrophobicity, the surface topography, and the plant signals are present, then the germ tube extension and differentiation takes place, which results in the formation of appressorium. Okay. So here, which type of signals, physical or the chemical signals, are collected by the germ tube? The very first is the hardness of the surface of the plant. Then what is the hydrophobicity of the plant surface? Then the surface topography, which type of topography is there, and the plant chemical signals. So you can say both physical signals as well as the chemical signals are involved in this particular process. Okay. So not only the chemical, we are often talk about the chemical signal, but there are also the physical signal. And which are which type of physical signals are there? The hardness of the plant surface, then the hydrophobicity of the plant surface, then which type of the plant surface topography is there, and then there is a presence of the chemical signals. So both types of the signals, physical signals and the chemical signals, are analyzed by the germ tube, and if they find it positive, if they find it right, if they find it in their range, then and only then there will be the differentiation within the germ tube. Okay. So here the very complex mechanism is involved during the plant pathogen interaction, and in this plant pathogen interaction, the once the pathogen starts to grow and create the germ tube itself will act as a site where it going to perceive the plant surface in the form of physical signals, in the form of chemical signals as well. And if they find it positive, then and only then they will start to differentiate. Now, perception of the signal from the plant surface by the pathogenic fungi seems to be the result of the signaling pathway, which is mediated by the cyclic adenosine monophosphate, that is the CAMP pathway. Okay. So these whatever the chemical signals which are coming right from the plant surface to the germ tube. Okay. These are plant surface to the germ tube. The signals are transferring. These are signals are transferred by the signaling pathways. Okay. And what is the two signaling pathways which are essentially involved in this signal transfer? The very first is the cyclic adenosine monophosphate, that is CAMP. Then the second one is the mitogen activated protein kinase, that is MAPK. Okay. So the two cycling signaling pathway are there which are responsible for transferring the chemical signal right from the plant to that of the spore or say germ tube. Okay. The very first is the cyclic adenosine monophosphate pathway, and the second one is the mitogen activated protein kinase pathway. Now these factors are implicated in the resulting in the development of the infection related to the phenomena in the different fungi. So basically, if the plant tries to avoid the infection, it will start to activate the adenosine the cyclic adenosine monophosphate pathway or the mitogen activated protein kinase pathway, and this signaling is literally the chemical signal for the infectious agent or the spore to get germinated. Okay. So basically there are two pathways which are involved in the chemical signaling. The one is the cyclic adenosine and the second one is the mitogen activated pathway. So both the pathways are very important to be mentioned in the mains, because these pathways are responsible for the chemical signaling within the plant body and with that of the host within the from the plant body with that of the spore or the germinating spore, or you can say the germ tube. Okay. Now consider. See, in a response to the signal from the host plant, the presence of the hydrophobic plant surface, which transmits the clue for the appressorium formation, the fungus pursues the extracellular signal. So from here, the hydrophobic plant surfaces plus the chemical signal from the plant, it will all result in the giving the positive signal to that of the germ tube, and in the process germ tube will start to create the appressorium. That literally this is the right plant, and once this is the right plant, the particular spore or the germ tube will start to differentiate itself, and once it got differentiate, you know what we call to that structure, it is called as the appressorium. Now this particular appressorium, once it is formed, the further penetration can occur. Okay. But why this appressorium creation is taking place? It is because of the positive chemical and the physical signals which are received from the plant, and it is received by the germ tube by the pathogen spore. Okay. So here the fungi pursues this extracellular signal and it will start to create the appressorium. Okay. Its transmission via the plasma membrane, and as the first step it accumulates the intracellular signaling molecule and induce the phosphorylation cascade. So here basically once the signals are received, the further the metabolic processes like the phosphorylation will start, it will initiate and it will create the energy molecule to create the appressorium like structure. So basically here the signals are coming from the two pathways plus the physical signals like the hydrophobic plant surfaces. It will all result in the positive signaling to the spore, and in the process if the spore is receiving or the germ tube is receiving the positive signal, it can create the appressorium. Okay, now see, in some fungi, see this receptor of this signal is a protein which is located in the plasma membrane of the fungal spore. Now, this is very important. Now, fungal spore, it contains, as you know, it is a fungus, so it has the cell wall, and after the cell wall, there is a plasma membrane which is present within the spore. So, whatever the signal which is coming from the two pathways, okay, whether it is a CAMP pathway or a MPKA pathway, both of these pathway, when they are producing the chemical signal, these chemical signals will literally be received by the proteins which are present within the plasma membrane of the spore. Okay, this is very important that the plasma membrane of the spore is receiving these particular chemical signals. For example, this is the spore and this is its external cell wall, and internal to the spore we have the plasma membrane. Okay, this is the plasma membrane, and as you know, the plasma membrane contains the many type of the proteins, and these proteins are which are present within the plasma membrane. These proteins are responsible for the receiving the signal from these two pathways. Okay, both of these pathway, when they were sending the chemical signal, these chemical signals will literally judged by the or received by the plasma membrane of the spore. Okay, and hence the subsequent phosphorylation of the target protein is started. So basically whatever the infection is going to produce, this infection is going to produce from the chemical signal which is coming from the plant, and it is received by the protein which is present within the plasma membrane of the plant. And from this point, when once this particular germ tube or the plasma membrane of the spore receives the positive signal, you know the appressorium will got created, and then there will be the next process of the penetration. That is, this appressorium is going to penetrate within the plant body, and hence the internal infection will start from this point. But to reach to this point, there will be the involvement of the physical as well as the chemical signals. And the physical signals, you know, and the chemical signals are primarily produced by the two pathways. Okay, so physical signals, chemical signals together, they were combined producing effect of the further infection which is going to occur due to the germ tube receiving the positive signals from the host plant. Now, the major activity of the PKA is the developing germ tube is the mobilization of the carbohydrates and lipids to the appressorium site. At the first slide, we have discussed this, that once it receives the positive signal, it will transfer the carbohydrate and lipids which are present within the spore. It will transfer to the appressorium. Okay, here this all energy is going to use. Then now this basically this particular physical and the chemical signal, once they got confirmed between the host and the pathogen, this food material will then transfer to the appressorium. So for transferring the food material right from the spore to the appressorium, these signals are very important. Once these signals are received in a positive way, they can actually they can actually transfer the food material which is present within the spore, and now it is transferred to the appressorium. Okay, so the signaling is always important here. Now it is therefore important for the production of the functional appressoria. So here appressoria, the functional appressoria is going to create after there is a transfer of the food material within the appressorium. Okay, which is the further link for the infection. Now, while in some other fungi, the CAMP signaling is required for the initiation of appressorium development. Now, see, it will depend on the different fungi that how it is going to function. In the first case, we have studied that these signaling pathways are responsible for the transferring of the lipid and the carbohydrate to the appressorium. While in the other fungi, this particular CAMP pathway, signaling pathway, is required for the initiation of the appressorium development. That is, from germ tube, the appressorium development will take place by this signaling. While in others, the appressorium is already created and the food material is transferred from the spore to the appressorium due to these two types of the signaling pathway. So it will depend on which type of the fungi we are talking about. In a one class, the appressorium is already created and the signal is required to transfer the food right from the spore to the appressorium. And in other case, the spore germination will take place to create the germ tube, and this germ tube stop here till the signal is received. And once the signal is received, here for the formation of appressorium, the food material is transferred. Okay. Now at which time the intracellular CMP concentration rise during the differentiation of the ponidia and the emergence of the appressorium germ tube. So basically, the whatever the concentrations of the CAMP concentration will continuously rise when there is a differentiation of the conidia, which is and subsequently there is the emergence of the appressorium germ tube, and this appressorium germ tube will literally then enter into the host plant. This particular step is called as the penetration. Okay, and this penetration it will require the whole new lecture so that we can typically understand how the penetration occur and which structures of the plants are there in which the penetration can occur through this particular appressorium structure. Okay. Now see, subsequently this particular CMP levels will form as the germ tube extend, and if more CMP is added at this point, further development of the germ tube will be inhibited, and this will be very important because once it will start to create the germ tube from the appressorium, from that point the infection is going to enter within the plant body. Now once it within the plant body, it can extract the nutrients from the plant body, it can get converted into the hostorium, and then the hostorium can suck the nutrients from the host plant. So here the somewhat infection changes, and here the role of the CAMP pathways is completed, because after that if the CAMP is added at this point, further there will not be any formation of a germ tube. Actually it got inhibited at this point of time. So this is how at the very first beginning we have studied that there is a landing of the spore on the plant body, then there will be the formation of germ tube, a short germ tube, then there will be the formation of appressorium, and then this appressorium will literally enter into the plant body, which is called as the penetration. Okay, and this penetration will require the separate video lecture to understand. So this is how the physical signals plus the chemical signals are involved in the process of the spore germination during the infection between the pathogen and the host plant. All right.